Welcome back to our channel. Hear me out. I'm Dee.
I'm E.
And today we're going to be discussing with you guys something we haven't really touched on before, but honestly, we absolutely love this topic because we love superheroes. So we're going to be talking about Marvel. Well, sort of. Technically, we're talking about Marvel, but really it's about the slowdown that's been going on as far as their content. Now, I'm sure you guys are all aware, especially during the pandemic. I mean, a lot of things had to be shifted. So eventually we got nothing but nonstop Marvel. And I think we all felt a little bit of fatigue. So we're going to touch on that, give you some details, and he will provide some of the background and everything for you guys.
So it's actually Marvel and Star Wars. So Disney's on a rampage at this point. So for those who don't know, Bob Iger is Disney CEO, and he admitted that the expansion of content, particularly from Marvel and in the TV space, has diluted focus and attention amongst fans, which is so true. Like I haven't
So
watched
true.
none of those things on TV. So therefore, they want to do a content slowdown for both Marvel and Star Wars as the company is looking to cut costs. The box office numbers have also begun to decrease as well because of the budgets and, it's expensive to do all these animations and things like that. So during a chat with CNBC, Iger admitted Disney will pump the brakes a bit on making movies and TV series for its Marvel Studios and Lucasfilm franchises in an attempt to cut costs as well as bring more focus to both entities. Iger said, "You will pull back not just the focus, but also part of our cost containment initiative, spending less on what we make and making less movies." So he believes that there's an oversaturation in the market and the results have been mixed. Earlier this year, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania opened the franchise as the franchise's best numbers, but the Marvel films saw swift declines in subsequent weeks. I can't read today, guys. In subsequent weeks, amid polarizing reviews from critics and fans. The movie ultimately grossed $476 million worldwide, but given its $200 million budget, there's not much profit. Bless you.
Thank you.
So, it's not giving what it's supposed to give, basically. On the other hand, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was released to mostly positive reviews from critics and fans, and it has become the second most successful film of the summer at the domestic box office. To date, the Guardian sequel has grossed $357 million domestically and $841.7 million worldwide. So to sum up, Bob Iger said, "We're done with this. Fans are bored. We're spending too much. There's going to be a slowdown for Marvel and Star Wars type movies and TV things." What do we think?
Okay, yes, there has definitely been an oversaturation, and as someone who loves both franchises, Star Wars and Marvel movies, it's been a little bit weird. With Star Wars, I feel like it's taken away from the magic that was the original trilogy, and seeing all these different things and character shows that they've created, and now it's like you're getting backstory on backstory, and you're getting all these little side stories of characters that maybe we didn't really need to know about. It's kind of feeling just pointless. Yeah. And it's like, how do you keep up with these timelines, right? Because as we know, the first trilogy happened at one point, then we had the prequel trilogy, and then we've had another trilogy that's happened after all of the original trilogy.
That's true.
There's so much, right? Like that's already jumbled and that's in the movie. But then you throw in the TV shows, and while I love The Mandalorian, I didn't really care for Obi-Wan, which I thought I would have loved, but it was a lot of self-service and it wasn't, as great as it could have been. The latest Star Wars franchise that's going to be coming out in Disney is Ahsoka, and I know that people are actually looking forward to that one because she's supposed to have been Anakin Skywalker's last apprentice. And so there's some connection there, right, to the original Skywalker family. But again, we've been dealing with the Skywalker family for decades on decades. Like, after a while, it kind of does become very diluted. Going back to Marvel, while I thoroughly enjoyed WandaVision and Loki, it does become a lot when you have all these other shows that are popping up that are supposed to be like, you know, part of what the whole phases are of the Marvel, universe. Like She-Hulk, I mean, it was funny, but I could have done without it. And then like even the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania movie itself was like not that great, aside from the introduction of Kang the Conqueror, who is played by Jonathan Majors. Aside from his own situation that he's got going on with allegations against him in the movie itself, great acting, great character, all of that. But it it just feels like a lot, and so I don't know that it's really going to like be so helpful in the long run. Part of what made like the Marvel Cinematic Universe so successful was that people were looking forward to what was going to come. You had all of the Iron Man movies, the Thor movies, you had
The
the
Avengers,
Avengers, yeah.
the
Um
Galaxy.
yeah, and even that, like the Guardians of the Galaxy, like nobody like really who people who are like superficial fans who, don't really pay too much attention, they didn't really know who these people were. But those movies turned out to be really good and funny and refreshing. Um, but still, it becomes oversaturated. Because at this point, who hasn't been in a Marvel movie? Like every actor you could think of has been in a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And it just becomes like too much, and going into the TV space, given the fact that like TV right now is overrun with like streamers and everything. Like it's kind of hard to really, I think, put out shows that are going to resonate with people so, acutely. Um, and superheroes just, I don't think, translate all that well into the TV space so much lately. And even like going as far as like DC, like we used to watch like The Flash and Arrow, and those were decent.
But
Yeah,
those were some great shows. But we
yeah.
weren't. I guess there wasn't an oversaturation because we know that DC is always doing 10,000 Batmans. At this point, how many Batmans have there been? There's a Michael Keaton, there's George
George Clooney.
Clooney, Robert Pattinson, Val
Yeah,
Kilmer, Christian Bale,
yeah,
Ben Affleck. Like, why are there so many Batmans? I am a true diehard Batman fan, and
yeah,
I'm bored. That's
yeah,
why I went from actual DC, and also they do a lot of Superman.
yeah.
Spider-Man is always like, in its own thing, but they're not really DC.
They're
They're
Marvel.
not really
Spider-Man is
Marvel, but they're like on the outskirts of Marvel. There's like Wonder Woman, but everything is just repetitive with
yeah,
DC. So
yeah,
I think that the TV shows, and even as kids, we used to watch like the Justice League. Those were
yeah.
great cartoons.
Right.
I don't remember and every other ones, but we had Arrow with like Deathstroke, and they introduced Ra's al Ghul, and all these
Yeah,
other villains. We
yeah,
had I think it was what's that? The girl one, Supergirl, but I really didn't watch it.
yeah.
There was the Flash, and
I
with
love
all that. So we weren't like kind of bored
Yeah,
at this point. And
yeah,
I think this Disney is just trying to keep up with Netflix at this point
yeah.
because Netflix is just shooting out these movies, and Disney's in this space with animation, and they have all these franchises under their belt. So what are they going to produce? These kinds of movies. But it's
Mhm.
too much. I can't keep up with. First of all, the sequence for Star Wars is confusing as hell, like you said. I'm
Yeah.
like, why is the first 4, 5, 6 before 1, 2, 3? I'm like, fine. I dealt with that. Then that's true what you said. There was the next sequel, which was like 7, 8, 9.
Yeah,
And then the in betweens, I don't know what's going on. I can't remember these characters.
yeah,
Who, what, where this happened this, before that,
yeah.
in between this. I think it's confusing to me. It's losing me as the audience.
Yeah.
And Marvel is kind of like the same. I think, um, I don't know. It's overwhelming. I think
Yes.
Endgame should have been the end game, and that's it. I mean, I know it can't be because, they're in the business of making money, but it was like, what else? What I do appreciate about Marvel is that they keep introducing new characters versus
Yeah.
DC. DC is just like I said, very repetitive. They stick to these five people. They did which one was with The Rock?
Black Adam. They also did
Black
Aquaman.
Adam sucked.
It did.
Uh,
Oh, it was bad.
Aquaman, I wasn't into it. I just think that they're just doing such a poor job. And that's why Marvel has definitely taken over, but it's
Well,
oversaturated.
so I mean, I think the issue, like you mentioned earlier, it really it really boils down to Netflix. And Netflix, basically the conundrum of Netflix and what it started within the last decade or so, as far as, when it went into original programming. When they started with their original shows, you had, House of Cards, Hemlock Grove, which was one that I really enjoyed.
I did too.
Was a good one. They
Yeah.
did Orange is the New Black. All of that stuff was like House of Cards. I mean, I was obsessed with that. Oh my gosh. So you had them going into, original programming, right? But it was still, like TV shows and everything. Then they moved into movies. Then they started like doing big budget stuff. You had Hollywood actors that were coming in and doing Netflix movies. Netflix was trying to like get freaking nominated for, not just like Emmys and stuff like that, but they're out here getting nominated for Oscars and stuff.
What was
So
it? Moonlight?
was
Moonlight?
Moonlight was a Netflix
Or
one.
was it an independent film? I don't remember. Let me look it up. As we go.
Good one, but I don't think it was a Netflix one.
No?
But what I'm saying is like, you know, of course it's understandable from a business standpoint that Netflix is going to want to do all of this, right? Like, hello, more money, more subscribers, all of that stuff. But then you have everybody else and their mama wanting to have a streaming service. CNN launched and failed immediately when they tried to do a CNN Plus or something like that. Then you had like Discovery Plus had its own thing, and then that became a merger with Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers merged with HBO. So now HBO Max is just Max. Like it's a whole like crap show at this point because you have all of these people trying to compete with Netflix, trying to do like all these things that like it really doesn't need to do. And Marvel, Disney was apart from all of that. I thought Disney was not going to be swayed. They'd be untouchable. But then they went and they messed everything up.
Mhm.
Like if things had ended with Endgame, and let's say they went on a 4-year hiatus, I think that would have made people insane for more Marvel content. It would have been immediate, like, yes, more, more, more. But instead, they gave us more TV shows on Disney. Then they came out with movies that weren't hitting the way that they should. The Spider Man movies are good. Yes, I'll give them that. But,
Mhm.
like, you have, like I said, the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie that was just kind of like bland. Even the show, oh my god, was it called Moon Knight? The one with Oscar Isaac on Disney Plus. That was not really critically well received. Oscar Isaac is a great actor, but people weren't really feeling the show. I've also heard people not really care for WandaVision. I think that was WandaVision. I liked it, but people didn't really care for it. Then you had the Doctor Strange 2 movie, I believe, which was like
I like Doctor Strange.
I love him, but that movie was not good. That movie was just it was just odd, like and not in a good way. I was just like, what? And
I
then
don't remember if I watched it or not.
um
What
he
was it
he
about?
like was fighting against Wanda. Wanda becomes fully evil now, and then it's like
Oh yeah.
she has to crack. It's the whole thing.
Mhm.
Wanda turning evil, I loved. I loved that one of the Avengers, went down that path, but I think they could have handled that better. And I don't really feel like it was done right. I feel like it was rushed. So It's like if they would have just taken a hiatus a few years, a couple of years, I think that would have been better. But instead, they just friggin' flooded the airwaves, both the small screen and the big screen. And it's just kind of like nobody's really looking forward to these things. Not anymore, not the way that they used to. I mean, look at the
Yeah.
success of Barbie. Barbie's a toy, but we haven't had original movies in so long that it's literally become $1 billion movie. Like, it's taken over the summer. Even Oppenheimer, which I think benefited from Barbie, is at over half a billion at this point. And it's like it's doing well in the box office again because original, programming. It's not something that's been regurgitated in another show, or it's not a superhero thing. It is based on a book, but still, there's some differences to it, and also based on a true story. So it's like the two movies that are literally the biggest of the summer, probably the biggest of the year, are not about superheroes. It's not about anything as far as a galaxy far, far away. It's literally about a toy, a doll, and about a man who blew up the world, basically, briefly
Mhm.
in history. Like completely the opposite of what these other movies are. So it sucks that we're here because, Marvel had its time, I guess, and during its time, we were all obsessed. I think right now it's just kind of like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think also Disney's like monopolizing on like our nostalgia. We always want, what we used to see, and we love Marvel and Star Wars. When was the first Star Wars? In the 70s?
I think
This has
so.
been going on for decades at this point. So it's just bringing back all these audiences. And the reason why they were so successful, I'm preaching because I did a whole project on it.
Yeah.
It was because of the nostalgia. And, they stopped a lot of like these Netflix shows because they were Disney related. I think it was like Hulk. Was it
No,
Hulk?
it
Oh,
was
Luke
Daredevil,
Cage.
Luke,
Daredevil, Luke Cage.
Jessica Jones. Yeah, the
They
Defenders.
dropped all of those just because Disney was coming to the scene.
Yeah,
And in its first few months, or I think maybe in the first 6 months, it surpassed the viewership, the subscribers that Netflix has. So that's Netflix's biggest competitor because
yeah,
Disney was bringing out all the Disney originals that we used to see as kids.
right.
So that had people crazy. They have Lucasfilms, they have MCU, they have X-Men. Am I Do they have
No,
X-Men?
I think
No,
they have a
they have
cartoon.
something else. Well, they
I
have Pixar. Pixar.
think sorry, yeah,
Pixar, they have all the Disney movies. Like, how can you compete with something like that at
right,
this point? So
right.
they have totally monopolized all that Disney is. Plus, they have Hulu as a
Yes,
joint bundle, and they have ESPN, which
yeah.
Bob Iger, he wants to drop ESPN, if I remember it correctly, because it's not profitable.
Maybe that's
So
why there's been a lot of layoffs in ESPN lately.
yeah, it's not giving what it's supposed to give. The math ain't mathing. So, he wants to drop, ESPN completely. So I think it's the shutdown that supposedly, did
Yeah,
all this damage. It's the writer's strike
yeah,
that's going on. He is so pissed about it, and we're gonna cover it in a later episode. Um, because he thinks that the writers are just stopping the process, they're being selfish, which they're not. Everybody just wants to be paid equally. He's
right.
paid mega millions, but it's
Yeah,
neither here nor there. But going back to the topic, yeah, I think just Disney's trying to be selfish, trying to take and keep the viewership, but it's actually too much in my opinion, because I can't even keep up. I don't even want to watch Disney. I'm always on Netflix or on Hulu, and I just alternate.
yeah. I mean, it's a lot to keep up with, and it's kind of like people don't have the attention span anymore. Not in today's era of TikTok and Reels, and it's like people have 15-second attention spans. That's it. Like for me to sit down and binge a show, it's gotta be good.
Yeah.
Like we're literally rewatching Game of Thrones right now. Like we just finished starting on the new season of Only Murders in the Building, and I fell asleep through the first like 2 episodes.
Oh my God, Selena Gomez is so dreadful in this movie. I mean, in this
In the show.
series.
We're gonna talk about the series at a later point because this is
I mean, she
but
is such a terrible actress. Like, I didn't even know this. I guess her Waverly Place days, like she should have just stayed there because she sucks. I don't
another
know.
show.
Huh?
That was another Disney show.
See? Another Disney show.
And Only Murders in the Building is on Hulu. So interesting. Which Hulu also houses the Kardashians. So,
So we already know.
It,
Disney is just, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, but I'm glad that they're slowing it down. Maybe, we find some love again with these shows. Maybe they can focus on some Disney originals like they used to. I would be all up in it. I was watching the one with John Stamos in it.
which
He's
one?
like a basketball coach.
I don't remember that one.
It's like a new series that they have. I need to
Oh,
actually see if they have a season two. Let me look it up. But that was cute. It was very much, like a Johnny Tsunami kind of thing, but just like episodes,
yeah.
like lovey dovey. He's like basically uh an NAA, I mean NAA, NCAA
Coach.
basketball coach. Then something happened. He was tripping or whatever.
Yeah.
Then he couldn't get a job. He got a job as a basketball coach at a high school, and he's just like kind of like having a hard time. Blah blah blah. He's a girls uh, basketball coach, so like dealing with girls, and then, John Stamos, Full House. This is kind of light, kind of
Yeah.
lovey dovey kind of thing. So that was
I
like
mean,
a nice show.
I do have some beef with Disney from a few years ago when they decided to shut down the Lizzie McGuire reboot just because they didn't want to let Lizzie grow up. Hello. And that was done. Disney.
Oh, it's called Big Shot. It's
Oh,
a temperamental college basketball coach gets fired from his job and must take a job at an elite all girls private high school.
oh,
So
okay. Interesting.
it's a huge. I think Disney should stick to stuff like that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
um, I don't know, but then
It's too
that's like very kiddish. I'm a kid at heart, so I love all those high school shows. I love cartoony things. So maybe to engage audience, they need this Marvel thing, Star Wars thing.
you need to really just like go back to the drawing board because this ain't it. Like,
They just need to slow down. That's it. I think they have a great recipe, but we're just bombarded with too much. We have Netflix, like you said, that we're tuning in. We don't want to see Netflix that one day. We go to Hulu. We don't want Hulu. Amazon Prime, Amazon trying to take over the world like Pinky in the Brain. So, Amazon Prime. If not, we got, all the social media thing.
yeah.
We got video games. Like our attention span is like minimal.
It really is. That's what I'm saying. In today's society, the attention span really is like maybe 15 seconds, if that.
Yeah.
It's everything is basically, scroll society. Like you just scroll, scroll, scroll. There's not really, much interaction with these things. It's not, like for something to really capture someone's attention, I think it takes a lot. So, hopefully they can figure something out because right now it is too much. And I'm not necessarily like looking
Please.
forward to the next, Marvel thing at this moment. Not really.
Yeah.
I don't even know how their next phase is supposed to be working. I can't. I can't.
Oh, I was looking it up. This is like a phase 6,
Yeah.
but I think it might have changed because with this whole slowdown, they were thinking
Oh,
of like
okay.
stopping production. Plus, the writers,
Right,
uh,
right. Because I know the
the
actors are on
writers
strike
strike.
as well.
Where is it?
The actors that are on strike.
Hmm.
The
Oh, the
writers,
actors too.
actors.
Yeah. Um.
It's the whole thing. I mean, I don't know, but
Let's. See.
it's just like too much. Like I said, too much. I'm
Yeah.
glad
So
that.
okay. So we're in. We have Guardians of the Galaxy. Then we have the Marvels that's supposed to be on November 11th, 2023 release date.
The
Captain
whole.
America New World Order. May 3rd, 2024. Thunderbolts, July 26th, 2024. Blade, September 6th, 2024. I'm like, can I digest the movies? Then they have a phase 6 from 2024 to 2026. Deadpool 3 at the end of 2024. Fantastic Four on Valentine's Day 2025, Avengers, The Kang Dynasty in 2025,
Oh,
Avengers Secret Wars, May 1st, 2026. So we're literally getting movies, let's say like these Avengers, a year apart.
yeah,
I'm like, what?
yeah.
First of all, I need to digest what Thanos did. There was this buildup of this man, which he was so awesome, guys. And, Endgame, hello.
Hello.
That was
Yeah,
too much.
yeah, yeah.
That was a lot.
Okay, wait, real quick. The one show I'm gonna say that I actually recently liked from the Marvel television side of things was Secret Invasion with Samuel L. Jackson. That was good. That was a pretty good one. And the reason I liked it is because it kind of touched on, some of the aspects of what people went through after the blip, after the 5 years, when everybody returned and how things were, during the time that everybody disappeared and during the time after. And it introduced also some new characters. And it was pretty interesting. Like, so that I
Out.
appreciated. Yeah, that one was good, at least.
I gotta check it out. I don't know. I gotta catch up with all these things. Apparently, I mean, I'm avoiding it. In theory, I wanted to see. Apparently, there's 32 Marvel movies,
Oh
and
my
I
gosh,
wanted to see it in sequence. But 32 movies,
that's a
an
lot.
hour plus, 2 hours plus each. I can't. Like, I already think my life is like going down the drain when I watch a whole series of Netflix a whole Saturday. I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't want to eat. I just want to see what's going on. Like, it just consumes my life. I can't imagine like catching up with all of this. It's gonna take me years. I don't know.
Yeah, it's quite a lot. It's definitely a lot. But
So
hey, we'll be reporting on what comes next if we know anything soon enough, depending on the strike.
guys, let us know what you think. What do you think about this slowdown with Marvel and Star Wars? Are you here for it? Or is it oversaturated? Are you looking forward to all these shows? Let us know because I dropped off a little bit. It's too much. But Dee, she loves all this stuff. So
I do. I really do.
she she keeps me up to date with, with these things. But let us know what you think. But that concludes our episode for today. Please subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Also, please share this video with your besties because we're your besties.
Yeah.
And, we just got to keep the chain going. We're trying to grow our community and have at least 500 subscribers so far. That's our first goal. So we would appreciate if you could help us out. We would love you guys for it. We also have social media, which is
Yes. Okay. So, social media. Let me make sure that I have this correct, guys, because I've been struggling a little bit lately trying to make sure I have it figured out. So for our, let's see, where is it? Give me 1 second. Description here. Okay. So on Instagram, we are Hear Me Out, D&E, D and the letter N and then E. And then on TikTok, we are at Hear Me Out, D and E. And oh wait, hold on. It actually turned out to be the same. What, guys? I just figured that out.
I can't with her.
Whole time I thought it wasn't coming out the way I thought it was, but yeah, it looks like it worked. Anyway, we got it all uniform. That was the whole plan all along. So you can also go to our banner on our channel page. You will see the Instagram logo. You can click on that. It takes you directly to our page so you can follow. You can check us out with our stories, with our posts, our reels, and engage with us through there as well as commenting on our videos, of course.
Well, guys, we'll see you next time and we'll keep you posted as always. Peace.
Bye.